The last website that I'm going to be talking about today is called Journey2050. This is a website that I honestly have not used as much myself, but I do know that the other Earth and Space Science teachers at my high school have started to use. When we start looking at sustainability, our impact on the world, it's a great way to be able to actually talk about that and give them kind of some definitive numbers or projections of what we expect to happen. So the whole idea for this is that if you imagine in the year 2050, so roughly 30 years from now, how are things going to be different? How is the world going to be changing, and what are we going to need to change in order to actually make sure that we're being sustainable and that our population isn't going to be stuck, or that our population won't cap out and have us run into some other issues that go with that. So this is just from the base website. This is 100% free to use. There is a sign-in for it, both for you and for the students. And the biggest thing for that is just you can actually keep track of student progress, both throughout any lessons that you have them work with directly on the website, or through it's actually based through a game, of all things. They actually play a game and go through different ideas for sustainability to gain a better understanding of what's going on. One of the cool things about it, though, is it does keep track of world population. Obviously, these numbers aren't 100% accurate. They're using an average and kind of going from there, but it just gives them a great visual of how much that's changing, how quickly that's changing, and how much we expect that to make an impact for the future. Looking throughout the website, there are different, if you're kind of on the fence of whether or not to use this, they do have different kind of testimonials or positive experiences that people have had in the past. But what I'm going to click over to here is the teacher login. So if you do decide to implement this in the classroom, one of your biggest things that you want to have down and easy for your students to use is your teacher code. Anytime the students are doing a project or working through this, as long as you give them and have them enter in that teacher code, they're going to, all their information or data or however far they get, that information gets sent to you. So you can make sure and kind of just keep students accountable for what they've actually done, or know those students that might need a little bit of extra help keeping up with what's happening. From here, though, there are a lot of different things, and they actually set up guest speakers and field trips if you're in the appropriate area, of course. But as you're going through stuff, as a teacher, it's very nice to have different curriculum connections, but more importantly, a step-by-step guide. They actually break down the whole game into six different periods or 6 different levels for what's impacting sustainability. So we have the introduction to what's happening. We have plant health, water, economics, land use, careers, and it does come with a lesson plan. Now, granted, the lesson plan itself, I know the website says it's for high schoolers, or for grades 7 through 12. I personally think their pre-canned stuff definitely fits on the lower side of that, but it's a great opportunity to get them involved with information as well. So personally looking through this, I would kind of beef up the lesson plans they provide or the PowerPoint presentations they provide as well. But I do think it is valuable for them to get an idea of the impact of it. The first game itself is a little bit on the lower level even still, but it is nice that it shows you that you can play it through different browsers, you can install it through different apps. In this case, we'll just check out through our Chrome browser that I am using currently. So this is the very first game, and the whole idea is that this is posing the process of a sustainability barrel, or just the idea that we don't have unlimited resources, and that changes depending on what part or what stage of the game you're looking at. So if I load up the very first one, we have this little animation, and you can kind of see why I say it's a little bit on the younger side for the generic setup of it, and you kind of have to work to get them to get more from it. But once this does load, we can see that we have our sustainability barrel that's reliant on economical, social, and environmental impacts. If I go back here, if I start looking at a different level, it's going to be more complex, and I think that's where there's a lot of credit that's due to this, honestly, this game, because it is something that you can implement very well, and it does have different videos that go with it that kind of give the background that students are going to need. There are other parts to this as well. They, of course, have the option to donate to places in need. You can get an idea of how that student experience is going to work before you sit there and click through everything as well. But it's something that, like I said, I have not used this yet, but I could definitely see a good use for it in my classroom and help bring to light a lot of the issues that are going to happen in just a few years.